footsteps, slow, deliberate, above the ceiling, heavy. Mark freezes, heart racing, silence. Then, a soft whisper, "I see you." Mark had just moved into his new apartment, thinking the quiet building would be perfect for work. The walls were thin, the floorboards creaked, but nothing seemed unusual at first. But soon, the faint sounds began in the dead of night. Footsteps pacing above his ceiling, almost measuring his every movement. One night, as he reached for a glass of water, the whisper came again, clear this time, directly behind him. He spun around, nothing, just shadows dancing in the corners. Mark tried to rationalize it. Maybe the building was old, maybe it was a neighbor, but the sounds didn't stop. Sometimes it wasn't just footsteps, it was dragging. Something heavy scraping across the floor above. Doors that were closed slammed shut on their own. Lights flickered. The air grew colder, almost freezing in pockets near the corners of his apartment. One night, he looked into his bedroom mirror. A shadowy figure stood silently behind him, tall, unmoving. When he blinked, it vanished. Mark installed cameras, thinking he might catch a prankster, but the footage was disturbing. Shadows moving in ways that defied physics, walking through walls, standing at impossible angles. Objects shifted without touch. And then, footsteps pacing over him while he slept, recorded by the microphone. A soft whisper. "Why are you here?" Mark froze. He hadn't spoken. The whisper didn't belong to anyone alive. Every night, the sounds grew louder, scratching along the walls, thuds that shook the floor. Mark could feel the presence watching him. He tried talking to the building manager. The upstairs apartment had been vacant for months. No tenants, no maintenance workers, no explanation. One night, the camera caught it. A figure standing at the top of the stairs, motionless, staring at him with eyes too dark to reflect any light. It vanished the moment he looked directly at it. Mark stopped sleeping. He slept in the living room, lights on, doors locked, but the presence was everywhere. Whispers followed him from room to room. Shadows flickered in corners that had never held furniture. He started to see footprints in dust that led to nowhere. On furniture he hadn't moved. One night, he heard his own name being whispered, repeatedly, louder, urgent, like it was inside his head. Suddenly, a cold hand gripped his shoulder. He turned, but no one was there. Mark couldn't live like this. He packed his belongings the night before leaving. He sat in the dark apartment one last time. Then he noticed the ceiling above him shifting, as if something heavy was moving just for him. Scratches rained down along the walls, whispering, clear as day, "You can't leave." Mark finally decided to move. He left everything behind. Weeks later, a friend asked him if he was finally at peace. Mark laughed nervously. He showed her the building's rental history. Every previous tenant who had lived in his apartment had moved out abruptly, citing nightmares, scratching noises, whispers, shadows, and most had disappeared entirely, never to be found again. He realized something horrifying. The apartment wasn't haunted by the tenant above it, was the tenant above itself, and now it was waiting for the next one. Mark never stayed in an apartment again. But sometimes, when he passes that building, he swears he can hear slow footsteps pacing above, whispering his name. And in his dreams, a tall shadow waits silently in the ceiling corner, watching, waiting, measuring. The tenant above never leaves.